Good evening. Hope everybody's well. That was a bit of a run around. Thank you for everybody who was helping out with getting the link for the main feature for tonight. We do have two films tonight, so we're going to have a little bit of a session. Although I've got to be careful with the drink tonight because I just remembered I'm working tomorrow morning. Yay! So I will be taking those quite slowly and probably having a pint of water in between, just to make sure that I can actually get up in the morning. Here he is. Yes, I am here. Happy birthday, Richard. This is a stream in. Oh, why is my chat not working? Ha! Okie dokie. Tell you what, 2 seconds, please. I'm back. See if we can add that in. There we go. We're good. You think I've got this down by now. I've had to do an awful lot of changes. Everything's just been updated with OBS. Last week I'd replaced my motherboard and my power supply because I'd had a whole bunch of issues. I've had a couple of drives die lately, and I weren't sure if it was the motherboard or whether it was the power supply. It's most likely the power supply, but I wasn't terribly happy with the Asus motherboard that I had, so I've changed out for one which I think is somewhat better. So I spent most of the last weekend just trying to get everything kind of fixed, really. To getting all the software kind of dealt with and all that kind of thing. But because when you change the motherboard, it does kind of fuck things around a bit. Though it is remarkable that you can take the system drive out of one system, shove it in another, and it works it all out for you, at least 80% of the way, which is quite astonishing, really. And I had a software which did not want to deinstall from the old system, but everything seems to be up and running quite nicely now. Give you a quick look at the new system. Look at that. Ain't that flash? Because I finally managed to get all the LED working and all that kind of stuff. Because I'd bought the Corsair Pro node and the bits and pieces with the LED and all that kind of stuff in it. Because when I did the system recently, I also did the memory, and I got the really kind of nice flashy one because it's kind of cool. So yeah, that was what I was doing last week. Hello, Simon. I'm glad to see everybody. Pretty much everyone's here. I think we've got quite a few people. Hello, Michael. Oh dear. Just want to say, because it was a little bit of a kind of bad feedback from previous times. If I miss messages and stuff, it's just because I'm kind of busy doing this. I am trying to keep an eye on stuff. It does sometimes go by the by. Please don't feel ignored. I'm not being a bastard, not to anyone. But Adam says looks great. Yeah, it's kind of cool now. I've got it actually working properly. There's an LED fan at the back, but because I couldn't control it, it was like hideously bright. It's one of the problems when you do LED in cases and stuff like that, is it can be overpowering sometimes. But I think I've got the balance quite nice now, so it's all quite good. Ah dear. So yes, happy birthday, Richard. Hello, John. It's good to see John's in the chat. Chat's a little bit kind of funny in size, but you know what? We can live with that. So, first film up will be Mad Foxes. I will put the link in the chat once more. And we will get started in just a little while because we've got quite a lot to get through, and I can't be all night doing this because, quite frankly, there's just... it's not a hard day tomorrow. I go in, I fix some stuff up, ready for people to come in and have a look around, and that's about it, really. But I'm in till 3 tomorrow, so just wanting to kind of get that over and done with. It's incredibly busy at the moment, and I'm going to give you the heads up. It's going to be... there's going to... I know it's going to sound bloody stupid to say. There are going to be less streams over the next about two 2.5 months, because I'm working a lot of weekends, a lot of really, really hard weeks. I will try to fit them in as and when I can do that. And I'm looking also, I've got to find time because I want to start, getting some more kind of recorded stuff done. I just picked up a couple more titles, including this Shining Sex by Jess Franco. Who wouldn't want to film that's got that title? I mean, that particular DVD or Blu-ray kind of like series is really just the Eurocine stuff, which is kind of cool in its own right, but it's got that quality to it, if you know what I mean. It really is the sort of sleazy end of that kind of thing. I mean, yeah. Isn't it amazing? We go from kind of like one crisis to another at the moment, don't we? What the stuff that's going on in Ukraine at the moment, and I won't get into too much of the politics and stuff like that, but Jesus Christ, way to bring back the 80s. It was kind of like so reminded me of the 80s. I just picked up that. Because if we were going to bring back a part of the 80s, let's bring back Frankie Goes to Hollywood, amongst a few other things. So, yes. Grobnob, hello, nasty lovers. I've been watching crime films with death by hanging. I love a bit of capital punishment. Did you watch the ones I recommended? That's what I would like to know. That was there's a really great one. Oh God, what is it? Is it Submit to the Night? I can't bloody remember the title of it now. It's got Diana Dawes in it, and it's her as a prisoner on death row in Britain, awaiting hanging, and it's a hell of a film. It's a hell of a film. Picked that Franco up also. Strange in a good way film. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of a lot of TNA, a lot of kind of like slap and tickle. Quite explicit actually, for a film that gets really straight on around here. But yeah. I think Russia wants NATO to leave them alone, really. No, it's gone way beyond that. That's the thing, Richard. It's gone way, way, way beyond that. That was a pretext as far as I could tell. But, that's pretty much Putin's speech kind of revealed what he was up to. He wants a USSR back, basically. Yeah. But let's put that out of our mind. I was actually quite stressed about it all yesterday, actually. Watching that, that's some heavy shit going on right there. If this picture was fine for someone else to post in a public group, why is it not okay for me to post it to my page? It was obviously a jokey pic. Have you been a bad boy, Simon? Dear, oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, so I'll put the link in the chat once more, and then we will get started in just probably about 2 minutes' time. But yeah, Facebook is strange dark. Try not to worry about it too much. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is one of those things. It kind of plays silly buggers with all their algorithms, and I imagine they're probably losing their shit at the moment with what's going on. And Russia's actually just kind of apparently banned Facebook. Or at least kind of censored them. But yeah, crazy times. It is like being back in the fucking 80s again. It's like, what the hell? Jesus. I was almost tempted to kind of like put Threads on just for because that's my sixth sense of humour. And I thought, no, that's actually kind of heavy. Okay, so give me a thumbs up when you're ready, folks, and we'll get started. I know it's probably about the third time we've done Mad Foxes. Mad Foxes. It's about the third time we've done Mad Foxes. But it is one of those sort of guilty pleasures, and as it's Richard's birthday, and he keeps joking about it. I mean, he is the origin of the joke for Mad Foxes. So why the hell not? Let's do it again, in honour of his surviving another year on this planet. There may not be any more after this. According to the BBC, Russia has announced its limited access to Facebook, accusing it of censoring Russian media. Yeah. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Jesus Christ. Kerry's ready. Brilliant. Okay. It's the first for me. Looking forward to seeing this one. Oh, John, I think you'll find it hilarious, but it is a famously awful movie. I need to get it ready myself. What the hell am I thinking? It's been such a rush around trying to find this goddamn thing. Tell you what I'm going to have to do. There we go. Make sure I've got the right one. Oh no, wait, hold on. Hang on. Sorry folks, slight technical issue on my end. I've just realised I seem to have the Russian version up. You might have to ignore that one. There we go. Oh, it is. Oh, hang on, Kerry. Is this it? Oh no, that's fine. What am I talking about? There we go. That's me being an idiot. Yeah, the link is the Russian film. Yeah, but it's in English, I think. Oh no, it's got. Oh god. Tell you what, we're gonna knock that one on the head. No Mad Foxes for you. What we are going to do, however, I think you might appreciate. So I'm going to copy this one on. We're just going to go with the other one and think about if we're going to do anything later on. Dear God. The humanity, I know. You wait. Right. Okay, folks, follow that link. It's all right, Kerry. It's a tricky film to get hold. It'd be all right if it wasn't for the fact that it's got that because the English dialogue's underneath it, but it's got some Russian guy I assume Russian, yelling all over the top of it. But that would get tired very, very fast, I think, particularly considering what's going on in the world at the moment. Okay, so once you've got onto that link, folks, then we'll get started as soon as possible, and we'll have a think about the other one. I might try and find that other one that was mentioned. Somebody said something about Jack-o'-lantern. You ready, Kerry? Oh, it's like, oh right, okay, that's all right. Well, my lights have gone on. Right, this is all your fault, you know that. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, folks. Yeah, sorry about that. Can't find the right one. There was one that Richard had linked to, but it's the dodgiest site ever, and we will never be going back to that. Yes, we are. give us a thumbs up when you're ready to go with that one. I think Richard's going to be happy. I'm not so sure we will be. I do warn you, it does include a lot of rather nasty behaviour towards snakes in this one. So if you're particularly sensitive to the welfare of snakes, you probably might not want to watch. Brilliant. Okay. Stand by, folks. We're going to go on the count of 5 and go on go. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This was supposed to be a surprise, Richard, this one. At least I had something else lined up, didn't I? Christ, it gets worse. Yes, it does. Not sure what kind of LSD they were on when they made this movie. Oh, it's totally sensitive. Oh, God, Simon. You would hope so, wouldn't you, Blue Iris? I'm kind of hoping, that the making of this film was something like Raw, so at least the snakes got a little bit of payback. Oh my God, it was just a dream. So I've been struggling to remember because I did watch this before, which is a big part of the reason why I refused to watch it again. It's Richard's birthday, so I'm trying to kind of throw something nice out there. But I seem to remember there was something of the kind of like they unearth evil. It's kind of manifests in form of snakes. Yada yada yada. They get their payback on a plane. Yes. Did the director make that excuse? The snakes didn't die needlessly. They were all eaten. Okay, that's actually kind of true in part of this film. But there was no way they were eating all of them. Put it that way. It's the baddie out of the Bruce Lee film. Yeah. You're quite right, Simon. It certainly does. Is that Korean Gary Glitter? Yes, yes. Oh Jesus, that is the one of the worst endings I've seen in a film, John. I'm for the boss. I don't mean any harm, right? See? Just trying something down here. I can't get the timer to stay up, unfortunately. If anybody needs a timer, then there it is. Just let me know, and I'll plonk it up. Apparently, Greg Nicotero is directing the remake of Nightmare City. Oh God, it could be interesting. A DVD of New York Ripper still sealed in cellophane. Oh, not my favourite film. It's very self-aware, this film, though, isn't it? I think it's very cruel to kill that many snakes. Well, yeah. I haven't, Adam, but I don't have Netflix, so that could be interesting. Just kill them all. What could go wrong? Start to see what I mean. I mean, this film kind of leaves Cannibal Holocaust in the shade when it comes to this kind of stuff. New York Ripper is a classic cold-hearted misogynistic scumbaggery. Yes, it is. That's probably quite a good way to put it. Not a date movie, is it? No, it isn't. One does wonder what was going through the director's head. You know, kind of when they're coming up with this movie. It's like, you know, like I say, it's not like they're eating all of these, or these are necessarily kind of like destined to die. They've kind of gone out their way. Tom Savini was attached for a long time. If it's still involved, but as a producer, well, it could be interesting, John. You think this is a bad watch an old Jacques Cousteau movie where they delight in hacking a shark up seriously non-PC? Yeah, I think it is. I mean, this has always been one of the discussions, hasn't it? You know, it's particularly with Italian horror films like Cannibal Holocaust, and they go, you know, it's just completely unacceptable. And I've mentioned before that I've had death threats on kind of my commentary because of the stuff in there where I've discussed that end of it, and it pales in comparison sometimes, but it's nothing. It is nothing new. None of it's new. It's been around since the birth of cinema. Thomas Edison famously kind of filmed the killing of Topsy the elephant. It was an elephant that had attacked and killed its keeper. So they decided to try electrocuting it because of Edison and stuff. He was trying to show that AC was particularly dangerous. So he would tour around and kill large animals with AC electricity. So that was one of the early ones. The original Ben-Hur, I think even the remake had some deaths in it. There's loads of cowboy films with particularly violent trips and stuff like that for the horses. You know, even up to Apocalypse Now and after that, animal death has been a part of cinema, including American cinema, up until shockingly recently. No movie is worth being unnecessarily cruel to animals. No, I tend to agree. Actors, however, yes. Oh, nice one. I tend to find that when it comes to that kind of stuff, though, the sort of, particularly with this film, um, that it's an act of laziness as much as anything else. Sometimes it's expedience with the filmmakers in particular. Um, just because it's quicker and easier to do it that way. Particularly on these really low budget things, which is why a lot of the like the Italian ones did it. The films with next to no budget. It's blown all their budget getting their film crews um, out to the locations. So, and nobody was going to give them a hard time about it over there. Talking about snake movies, can we watch sometime? If you can find a link of it. I've not actually seen that. Yeah, it's very, very common thing. Um, Disney, even Disney, were very happy to indulge in that kind of behaviour. See, with this scene in particular, it's kind of like um, a very regular kind of restaurant in that kind of region. So you can argue that this scene is potentially passable, even if it's kind of against our sensibilities to present as entertainment. Not really enjoying this, no. Somebody suggests Hack O Lantern earlier on. But what I would say, Simon, is if you're not enjoying it, you can always come back in an hour and we'll see about an hour and 10 minutes, and we'll see what we got after. Discrot sucks, yes. Generally not a problem these days, but still a few that suffer it. Doesn't Friday 13th have a snake death? Not sure. Don't remember one. I mean, there was all sorts of things. The BBFC this is one of the things that the BBFC would certainly have a problem with. It's part of the Cinematographic Act, Animals Act, which is kind of related to kind of how animals are treated. And a director had a kind of image of a dying pigeon, and it was kind of a puppeteered one. It was already dead, and he had to demonstrate to the BASC how he actually kind of animated the bird, so it didn't, so they could look at it and go, right, okay, yeah, it's fine. You didn't do anything particularly nefarious. Yes, Adam. I'm just trying to remember if it's did did we get? Well, we might watch that after. When does Barry White come in and singing "Leave the Snakes Alone"? Yeah, I mean, are you all seeing why I was going no, 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 no? But particularly as Mad Foxes didn't pan out tonight. Um, this is obviously for Richard. And like I say, if anyone's kind of like feeling a bit sort of I don't want to watch this, you can either just hang around and chat, kill the movie, whatever, or come back in an hour and 10, and we'll watch Hack a Lantern after. And Suspiria, those maggots crushed underfoot. Yeah, yeah. What does kind of on it's one of those lines where you go, well, it's just maggots, isn't it? And I guess the filmmakers are going, well, it's just snakes, isn't it? We'll draw our arbitrary little lines, don't we? Some cheese on this. Oh, it looks sexy. Unfortunately, the only person who can stop this screening would be Richard at this point, as he's the birthday boy. Chucky's, yes. At least we get something out of this movie, don't we? I will sort you out with that, John. I do have a copy. Hell, I mean, I've got the I've shown it on many occasions, but I've got the VHS over there. So these are the ghosty snakes, I think. This is what I say. It's almost a poltergeisty kind of thing. It's like evil spirits in the form of snakes kind of thing going on. Whatever the justification in the narrative is, it's really not much not much of a vengeance for the actual snakes. Yeah, why did it have to be snakes? One wonders if it's, kind of like, because a lot of these sorts of stories, particularly in the kind of like the films from the Asian region, are often kind of based on sort of local folklores and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know enough about, the people behind this film really to kind of say whether that's actually something. It's like, was it Lady Terminator? That is another one of those films that does that kind of thing. Bit of goblin being ripped off. That's a very quiet shirt he's wearing. I think he needs to get something a little louder. Yes. Pokemons, aren't they? Got to catch them all. Used to, I don't know if I've mentioned it before. As kids, we lived over in Hong Kong for a couple of years, and there were some pretty deadly snakes around there. Really. Saw the snooker player Steve Davis DJ last week in a small club. He played Goblin. Really? That's kind of cool. Where the hell was that, John? Snakes on a British rail train. Yeah. Everybody survives because the train happened to be so late that they all buggered off. I have met Steve Davis and pretty much, kind of most of the classic British snooker players, because I used to do the UK Snooker Championship when I was in York. Um, Steve was kind of cool. Did play a little bit of, um, I think it was Spider Man off the top of my head on like a Mega Drive with Stephen Hendry. The drama of real estate, ladies and gentlemen. Who decided that women going was sexy? It sounds like you had a good evening there, John. You're going to some weird places there, Grob. She obviously appreciates a loud sports jacket. I don't think it's his jacket she's looking at. I think it's more what's in the pocket of the jacket. I know. I know, Richard. This is such a bizarre film. If they're toned down on certain elements, then this I don't know. Would this film be remarkable in the slightest if they didn't have after the snake abuse? And if that doesn't sound like a euphemism for masturbation, I've got no idea. DVD of 10 Wellington Places, commentary by John Hurt. I'm going to enjoy that. Yeah. I've had to kind of like, because I've redid my computer and everything, I've rerun all the cables and everything like that, and so I've had all my um, retro consoles, my PS2, 3, and Xbox 360. So I've had them all out and redone all the kind of cabling, because it's going through all switches and splitters, and finally got it kind of like tidied up after 2 years of my promising myself I was going to do it. Bashing the rattler. That was a very theatrical kind of slap, wasn't it? How dare you, sir? This is supposed to be a comedy. Partly, yes. I keep meaning to watch Dance with a Stranger. Watch Dance with a Stranger. Go to the disco. Sorry, nightclub. It's just showing my age, isn't it? Sounds like you got bigger problems in disc rock there than Grob. Has Piss Tub made an appearance yet? Not quite sure what you're getting at there. I mean, let's be take some comfort in that. Although we haven't watched Mad Foxes tonight, we have at least got another film with equal dubbing. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, I struggled with. I found it astonishingly boring. It is a film that keeps on giving and taking away with the other hand. That's it for protocol. See, I think it's by. Is Fourth Protocol by Lacar? Frederick Forsyth. Okay, different. Yeah, for some reason, you mentioned Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I kind of had the Fourth Protocol kind of jumped into my head, and maybe that's a current events thing. John Hurt commentary is going to be top class. It would be interesting. And John Hurt's one of those guys, he's not exactly the prettiest guy on the planet, but one hell of a voice. They kipping in a chicken coop. I'm gonna have to watch the Fourth Protocol again. It's been a long time. Didn't like Fourth Protocol. That film's main reason I couldn't accept Brosnan as James Bond. Really? Okay. Why was that? Just because he plays a Russian in that film. Bruce Forsyth, no. Oh, good game, good game. Shittest impersonation ever. Oh god, yeah, 1984. That film is quite something. Well, it's a good. It's a hell of a story. Jesus. He really kind of like goes full on for the kind of extended scenes in this, doesn't he? Really, do we really need mongoose on snake action? Peckinpah movie. Horror. Don't know if I mentioned actually talking about Blu-rays. The extra I was going to be doing for Blu release unfortunately fell through. Um, Turned out it was a lot less time than I thought there was going to be. Put a fiver on the Mongoose. They do tend to win. Yeah, Peckinpah was not in good shape by the time he finished. He was still making some pretty decent films and all, but yeah. It's like a reverse scene from Lady and the Tramp. You just sat here kind of wondering. It's just one of the things about, first time I watched this film, it was just like, why am I watching this? I mean, you've got some explaining to do, Richard. It may be your birthday, but you've got some explaining to do, young man. I mean, really, they're just sort of like. I mean, it'd be one thing if this scene was like 30 seconds long, but it's not. It's like about 3 minutes long of this stuff. I mean, how much did the director think that we needed to see this? Which is why I always question the motivation in this respect. Same as you would with a lot of the Italian directors when they have this stuff. Yeah, no, I mean with the Italians, a lot of it's kind of stock footage, but not all of it, but a lot of it. Dear God. Uh, I'd fast forward for it, but yeah, it's not like I'm squeamish about it. It's just like kind of. I tend to like it if there's a little bit of a reason, at the very, very, very least. I always wonder whether or not Cannibal Holocaust would have been um, thought of as awful as it has, well, as badly as it has been, if it wasn't for the animal death. Uh, yeah, I know, Grob. What they need is Bond's poison pen from Moonraker. If they could take it up, definitely one of the weirder Bonds. That one. See, that's a kind of cool image. Cannibal Ferox is the only film that almost made me puke. I can't say I felt that kind of reaction to it. Although when I first watched it, I had no frame of reference for what it was I was about to sit through, so I had no idea what, other than the kind of infamy that it had. So I do remember being quite nervous sitting down to watch it. It was like, will this take me to the edge or not? I'd say it was probably a little bit of a letdown in comparison. Cannibal Holocaust, not so much. That film is, that's pretty hardcore no matter what. So when does our main feature start? Posted a DVD of Island of Death to a friend, waiting for a response. I find that film just amusing. I don't find it disgusting. I just find it amusing. It is a. Um, it's not a film I think is challenging in the slightest. Enjoyed the commentary track for Cannibal Ferox. Trying to think who's on that. Where is my Cannibal Ferox? I think Lindsay did one, didn't they? Umberto Lenzi and star John Morgan. I think they did it separate, so it's like two. That's the version of Cannibal Ferox I got. It's the only one I could get hold of at the time because there's no way of getting it over here. Bloody Moon? Yeah, we could do Bloody Moon. Let me see if I can find it. It'd be a bit a case of trying to find the English language one. Yeah, they're pretty well done. That head cut scene is kind of really, really well done. What the hell? Okay. Oh, it's Ferox just meant cruelty or cruel, but not 100% sure. I think it just means wild. I thought that's what it meant, like as in feral. Savage, restless, unquiet, ungentle, impolite, inhumanous. Yeah. So yeah, kind of wild. Oh, by all means, Grob, have a look for it. I'm sure it's on there somewhere. I just can't really check at the moment whether or not it's an English language version. I suppose I can. Ferox Trout. Now that would have been a wildly different film, yes. All right, okay. Snakes are kicking all sorts of ass. Oh, Richard. I mean, to some degree, there's a. It's not the entire film because I don't think this is necessarily the greatest film out there by any means, but probably would have been a lot more kind of palatable had they cut out a lot of the stuff, and it could have, basically been reasonably well regarded. Life Among the Trout, Harry Bromley Davenport's lost movie. The asylum will buy it. Did actually see because, like I mentioned earlier on, as kids, we were in Hong Kong for a while and going to a dragon dance, which it just had a little bit of in there. Remember, it's like kind of it comes up right close to you, and I was like, I was only like a wee little one, and remember being a bit like. You have some very specific interests, Rob. Yield to the Night, that was in it, wasn't it? Yeah, that Diana Dawes film. Highly, highly recommend. It's very, very good. Can imagine this as stock footage in an early Lindsay film. Yes. I'm kind of tempted to watch Jungle Holocaust now as well, actually. Um, it's your birthday, Richard. Hate to imagine what your kind of pick for it like next year. Oh, Last Cannibal World wasn't actually a bad film, apart from the animal cruelty, of course. Yeah, it's a pretty good film. Um, yeah, you kind of look at that, and then it's like some of the later versions that sort of came out. The cannibal genre is actually really quite fascinating. Some of them are incredibly interesting, politically speaking, apart from anything else. And Last Cannibal World is does have that political undercurrent which goes into it. Then you got the kind of cheap knockoffs like Cannibal Ferox and stuff like that. But then you have stuff like Man from Deep River, which is like one of the earliest ones of that particular genre, which was a really good film. It's a really good film. It's easy to kind of look at it as being a bit of a rip off of A Man Called Horse, which it is to an extent, but it's got that Italian flair, to say the least. Well, far be it from me, Grob, to say that's quite a dark hobby, considering some of the films I've sat down and watched multiple times to do this kind of to do the reviews for. It's very pricey for the 70s. But I've got where is it? There it is. Right, I've got to do this without ripping my headphones out of the computer. So that's my copy. The old Duran. Yeah. That's one of the things, though. I mean, that is obviously a pre-cert copy. Um, and it's like a lot of these, even pre-cert were cut, and not everybody kind of gets that. It's like the Boogeyman 2 that I've got over there. That's British version is a pre-cut version. There's a movie horror there, then there's real life. I'm opposed to capital punishment, and yes, I'm very opposed to capital punishment. You have some interests, Grub. It's absolutely, I'm not judging you on that, not in the slightest. Like I say, I mean, when people kind of look at the kind of movies I watch and stuff like that, and it's like I have been judged, and I'm pretty sure I got kicked out of one place because the person who owned the house, I was renting a room, and I think she went in there when I wasn't around and looked at the videos and thought I was a psychopath. But there you go. Oh, cool. Rental titles were always pricey. Yes, they were. They were on a. It was partly because of the license of them. So your rental titles were like anything between £50 and £100 per cassette. Because I actually bought a brand new rental copy. Which should mean that, at the time, because I bought that I should have been, able to potentially hire it out. But it was a copy of Dawn of the Dead when it got finally re-released in the UK, and it cost me about £55 back in about, when was it released? About early 90s. Hello, Kieran. It's been a bit of a change to the advertised viewing, I'm afraid, Kieran. We are currently watching Calamity of Snakes because, unfortunately, Mad Fox is we failed to get a version that was going to be acceptable. I say we, it's me. I know it's so tonally bizarre, isn't it? There aren't many films that kind of shift you as swiftly as this, and you do wonder what is going on in the mind of a director who makes a film like this. I think he's got a real problem with snakes. Always looking for a pre-cert Halloween 3. That would be cool. Thing is, it's a lot of people have kind of retrospectively looked at Halloween 3 and gone, actually, it's not that bad a film. In fact, it's actually quite an interesting film in the series. I personally find it a lot more interesting than potentially 2. They're sort of more or less on the same tier in some respects, but I find the story is more entertaining to me, and it's certainly far more interesting than any of the ones after that, as far as I'm concerned. It is. Do you need a link here, Kieran? A lot of the um, a lot of the classic British actresses that you sort of, you recognise for kind of like very specific roles that they were huge in, turned out to be really, really good actresses when you sort of look back at their career. Yeah, it's closer to an hour actually behind. Hmm? Actually, it's not too bad for if it's a good copy. 80 quid's pretty fair. I believe it was 80. It's 82 ish. It's funky time, yeah. It's definitely got a little bit of a. It's got that little bit of that Jess Franco kind of twang about it at this point. Oh God, it's Asian Donald Trump. Be right back. Oh, I've only seen the first 5 Halloween movies. Three's underrated. Yeah, I'd say it's underrated. It just, after 3, they just got more and more desperate for me. But then again, I've always had that problem with a lot of franchises, most franchises. As soon as they get described as a franchise, that's it. They're on their way out, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, I'm gonna have to remember to change the title of this stream now because of the slight change of programming. It's not as bad, but ours is some of the Jess Franco is like Bloody Moon. It's kind of shake, yeah, baby, shake. I don't know if it would have got much attention at all if it hadn't been called Halloween 3. It is the one thing I would say, Simon. But I'm glad that people sort of look at it and go, actually, it was quite an interesting film. There's some really creepy shit goes on in that. I actually kind of liked it. It was a more of a kind of creep show kind of vibe rather than a slasher. Gary. Well, I don't know if it counts if you get him involuntarily gifted to you. I'm at peace when my wallet is full. I mean, yeah, it's not bad to have a full wallet, but oh, was he? I did not know that. I guess I didn't mind watching the later Elm Street movies, but I have not really got much of a desire to go back to them. I've got most of the Halloween films, but when I get to three, I watch three, and I'm just not really that excited about going on from that point. Um, which I've always held is one of those things. It's like it's almost a heresy considering what I do, with the channel and stuff like that. I mean, Elm Street 2 is not, a great film compared to the first one, but Elm Street 2 is an interesting one because they did try to kind of play with some ideas. So in that respect, I've got a lot of respect for it. Well, Kieran, the first one is relatively rough and ready. In my opinion, it's not the flashiest of the lot, but um, it's probably got the purest of the stories though. And then by two, it's already starting to get ridiculous with what it does to kind of like make Jason the bad guy. And then, of course, they make him more and more invincible as they go along. It's like, I mean, a lot of the problem with those, whether it's Elm Street or whether it's Friday the 13th or whether it's Halloween, is the premise gets stretched so thin that what else can you offer but to try and kind of just up the body count, which is potentially fun in its own right, but you kind of lose the thread of um, what the story was about. Certainly with Halloween, because it did not need to go past the first one. Because it was interesting, you had enough mystery, and roughly what was, kind of like what the situation was. And it had this idea of this kind of the boogeyman being real. But, by the time it gets the second one, they just about got away with it. It's still not a great story in comparison to the first one. It tries to answer too much. The third one's obviously a completely different film. But then it's just like, okay, let's make Michael Myers even more indestructible. Leaping lizards, yes. Friday the 13th should have stopped at part 4. And the third one's got a camp charm just because it does so much of that 3D stuff. Each and every individual one got an invite, Richard. So much John Carpenter keeps getting those checks, so we keep seeing them, yes. A fair play to him for that, because it's not like his career is gifted in the whole heck of a lot of money along the way. Not comparatively speaking. Considering he's made, some pretty damn classic films. You like owning the sequels more than I like watching them. Yeah, that's the perils of being a collector, isn't it? Really? It's like Squirm with more teeth, though, isn't it? I've not heard that, but I would have a certain amount of anxiety about that because it isn't a film I think needs a sequel. But maybe he needs a check. I'd give him the entry fee, though. These snakes were really let down by their agent. Yes, they were. I don't think any desire to complete the collection would ever make me get Jaws the Revenge. I've got the first two, that's enough. Thank you very much. Yeah, Steve, unfortunately there was a bit of a problem with trying to get the Chosen film started, so this was Richard's birthday treat, that I'm subjecting myself again for the second time to Calamity of Snakes. Don't say that I'm not game for a laugh. I love how they've had to speed up the footage. Yeah, it's all your fault, Richard. But it's your birthday, so we have to forgive you. There's an article just this week where JC said that if he was to make a sequel, it would be The Thing. He was advertising the new Blu-ray release of Escape from LA. It's a real tonal shift, isn't it, Escape from LA compared to Escape from New York? I never thought it was that bad a film, but I mean, it has its moments. I think the surfing thing was a little bit kind of out there, but it was as much to do with janky special effects. You know, it's a very ridiculous situation as well, obviously. Jaws 3 for me is largely unwatchable, unless you've actually got the 3D glasses on, in which case it's a little bit of camp fun. You've not seen Escape from New York? Oh, you should make a bit of time for it. I mean, it's a very slow film. It's one thing that surprises a lot of people, I think, if they've not seen it before. It's very 80s kind of John Carpenter pacing. Did that snake just turn a door handle? No point otherwise, no. I just remember that, but I don't remember a whole heck of a lot. It's been decades since I watched the damn thing. But I do remember the explosion at the end and the jaws kind of like, you know, just literally the jaw bones going towards the screen. Yeah. You're a very strange person sometimes, John. You know that. But you are the guy. I mean, I don't know why that would surprise me in the slightest, because I do remember you constantly singing Midnight. When we first met, you'd see my review and you were just singing that bloody theme tune every 5 minutes. What the hell is going on? Escape from New York is awesome. But yes, it's slow. Don't forget, it inspired Hideo Kojima. I've got to watch Poltergeist 3 again sometime. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Oh yeah, I absolutely agree, Lorne. It's just I think for a lot of newer audiences, younger audiences, it can be one of those. It's a little hard to sit through, just because it is so. It's quite plodding, but I love it. You know, I mean, I unashamedly love it. I think it's a great film. Wait, that's not a Luther. A Luther. Poltergeist sequels are terrible. Uh, they were what they were. I found them fun enough. Whereas the so wait, that's not so. Yes, Donald Pleasance as the president. It was a weird one, wasn't it? Uh, he's a very strange character as the president in that film. It's like an even lower budget version of Demons with the snakes in the theatre. And just bear in mind, they employed people to be off camera throwing snakes at actual actors. Yeah, chef from South Park. Isaac Hayes, yes. But it had that really kind of gritty, dirty kind of run-down kind of atmosphere to it, didn't it? And that really fantastic um, bit at the beginning, which is like animation, but it's not. It was actually a model. Snake chuckers, yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they get credited for that. Snake Flinger 1. No, he's not the president of the World Health Organization. Yeah. How the fuck do you get that many snakes? And at the end of the shoot, did they just go, oh, well, this one's alive, we'll use that in the next scene? I wonder if any snakes actually survived this entire film. Yeah. Does amuse me how many times John Carpenter's killed off Adrian Barbeau. It's like no wonder they got divorced. You're probably right. Yeah, I think he's always been one of those directors. There's a load of them. It's like George Romero and so on, who have a bunch of actors that they just liked working with. David Lynch is massive on that. You know, he's got a very small pool of actors that he really likes to work with. This is supposed to be sexy, is it? I wouldn't say so, Maris. I can have a quick look and see what the excuse me. Oh, it was released in 1982, so there's not an awful lot of information on it. Surprisingly. Matt Carpenter films, Tom Atkins and George Buckflower appear in, which is kind of silly. Yeah, I imagine John Carpenter's just one of those people that, you know, apart from anything else, doesn't really kind of want to have to deal with um, the unknown of bringing in actors that could just be a pain in the ass. Crazy Fat Ethel. That's one of those uh, legendary films, isn't it? In some respects, you know, no small part thanks to Cinema Snob. Excuse me, my starter is still twitching. Yes. I've always wondered what snake tastes like. I mean, if I was in a place that served that sort of stuff, I'd give it a go. You wouldn't hire Seagal, no. Who in their right mind would? And I hate to say it about Bruce Willis, you know, he's another actor that's just kind of like, oh, well, I'll turn up and I'll read some lines. Um, Half the time he doesn't even bother to kind of get the script, he's got him fed into his ear. It's Harry Bromley Davenport talking about, you know, Jan Michael Vincent, and he's going like, yeah, he's going, I know they're not exactly making Shakespeare here or anything, but yeah, we're all here trying our hardest to make a film and make it as good as we can, and here I am having to stand off camera and feed him his lines. Tastes like chicken. Yeah, I've heard everything apparently tastes like chicken, though, doesn't it? Well, I don't think they were probably short of snake soup or anything like that, were they? Seagal light, yes. It's such a shame, really, with Bruce Willis, because he was always such a charismatic actor, and then he just kind of went, I can't be arsed anymore. I think he just got bored of it, and he was like, well, what else am I going to do? He tried music, and everybody mocked him for it. Yeah, there's the occasional one he's done where it's sort of worked out. Fifth Element is a great film. I love that film. It's just utterly bizarre. Perhaps they just kind of like, you know, got confused because it's a pusher instead of a puller. That was still kind of back in his days when he was, you know, still giving a shit about acting, though, wasn't it? See, half the time you see him in these films and he gets paid a, you know, pretty reasonable amount of money, you know, like $1 million or whatever, to turn up for the day or two to film, and you can tell they've had to kind of like substitute with like body doubles and that kind of stuff. So the they shoot Bruce Willis from behind. It's not at all a stunt man. Now they're just randomly smashing up apartments. Look, maybe they've just had enough of kind of like killing quite so many snakes, and they need to mix things up a bit. What would be quite a fun evening to do would be to find some just some classic kind of like 80s action films, you know, Schwarzenegger film like Commando or The Running Man, something like that, and do a watch along. Something like that would be kind of fun sometime, or something in that vein. He ordered fish in KFC. One of Stephen King's alternate super secret names. God, I hope these snake flingers were actually kind of, you know, paid a decent amount of money, because they're really working their asses off. Predator is the highlight after original Terminator. Predator is a damn good film. And I'm one of the, I guess I'm one of the weird ones that kind of goes, I actually appreciate the first half of the movie more than the second half. Or the first two acts of it rather than the third act. Which, don't get me wrong, is great. But it's sort of where it kind of goes, yep, we're coming to the conclusion now, and that's it. We're just going to get it out of the way and done. Commando's on YouTube, is it? Okay. I like all Predator and Alien films to varying degrees, but not Prometheus or Covenant. I think they were a more interesting idea than they actually managed to kind of fulfill. I think it is. There's a lot of promise in that as a story, but it just it doesn't quite doesn't nail it. I'd say doesn't quite nail it. It absolutely doesn't nail it. Running Man story is very different from the movie. Yes, it is. Science Theatre 3000 great films, what we need. I'd love to do Squirm if we could watch it. Blue Sunshine would be a good one. Although Blue Sunshine was never a Mystery Science Theatre one, but it is a pretty decent film. Ah, really? Saw it in Leicester Square when it was released. That's awesome. It's all this thing where they launch themselves. You know, snakes are even doing kind of kung fu. This is ridiculous. No, funny enough, that it's the sillier side of this. I actually kind of think is makes the film quite entertaining. It's just some of the, shall we say, needless abuse that goes on. That makes it a little bit kind of reprehensible, to say the least. Why are those snakes quacking? Well, why not? You know, after they've all they've been through, I think it's actually give them a bit of a break. Stephen King sells his short stories for $1 on the proviso they aren't released to the mainstream. Really? So when you see a pile of writhing kind of tubular kind of creatures and they quack, and you go, "Oh, it's all right. It's not a snake. It's ducks. We're fine." Yeah, the bar is set a bit high for this film. Oh, and it's done. I just want to see him have the audacity to put no animals are harmed in the making of this film at the end of it. Okay, quite possible. See if we can find that here. Right. I don't know. I'm going to be able to find Bloody Moon. So I was quite sure that it was actually on here. But have a quick think about what you want to watch. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause everything. I'm going to just take care of a few things, and I will be right back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll get started again. So have a think about what we're gonna watch on this next one. If anyone can find Bloody Moon, then just sort of hit us up on Facebook on the Rambleholics or something like that, and we'll give it a go. If not, we'll just go with Hack-O Lantern. Yeah. Okay, so chances are this won't be getting a UK release. Probably not, actually, because it really does sort of violate just about every rule that the BBFC have about cruelty to animals. So you can come out. Now it's over. Thanks. Yes. I don't know. I doubt it was Fancy Pants limited edition on my budget. No. Bloody Moon is in Italian only. What about Running on Empty? That's on English. I don't know that one. Have a quick think about it, and I'm just going to put us back to the opening card. I just need to grab myself a little snack and more refreshments, yada yada yada, and I will be back in about 2 minutes. Okay, catch you in a moment. Hello, I'm back. I have cheese. This time it's not the movie. Right, okay. So we don't get the epic English. No, we'd need the English dub on that one. Zombie 90. Let me just check that. Have I seen that before? What do you reckon, folks? Do you want to give this one a go? It does not look good. Just looking at the thumbnails. I have a nice bit of Stilton. I've got some brie. I usually get the Somerset stuff, but they only had the French stuff in, and I'm not so enamoured with the French stuff, which is probably sacrilege in a cheese world. Who'd have thought I'd be talking about that on this stream? What do you reckon? Zombie 90? Is that with the Thor singer? I have no idea. Yeah, it pretty much depends on if everyone else is. I'll tell you what, put that on the back burner. We'll just go with Hack-A-Lantern because it was suggested before. Let me just sort that out. You're gonna head off, Simon. Okay. All right, you take well and feel better soon, fella. There we go. We'll go with Hack-A-Lantern. I should indulge in some Stilton. It's just come in. There you go. The co-op Stilton is not the greatest. But their Somerset Brie is really good. Okay, folks, start giving me a thumbs up when you're ready, and we'll get started with that. Let's do that rather sooner rather than later. Thing about the French Brie, got a slightly farty kind of aspect to it. It's not awful, but Are you folks ready? Let us know. Okay, brilliant. Right, we will go. Okay, we'll go on count 5 and go on go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, Hack-A-Lantern, 1988. It's not quite got the grandiosity of Vangelis, but you know what? I saw her videos with her in it, like an interview videos with her in it pop up. I assume that's why, but that's horrible. It is one of those big questions, isn't it, Carrie? Yeah. You're getting a Tommy Wiseau sort of thing, because Raj here has appeared on several occasions. Nom. Why am I getting a Claudia Fragrasso vibe off of this? What's everyone think of that new Argento film? They reckon he's back to his best with his new one. I haven't seen it. What? Which one is it off the top? I can't remember which one it's supposed to be now. Just a quick look. Okay, dark glasses. Um, it's on IMDb as black glasses. What a weird film this is. I've not seen this before. I'm trying to find the Argento film online. DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. Assume it hasn't been released yet on. Well, I guess he's the only one giving his daughter work at this moment. I did not like Mother of Tears in the slightest, I have to say, John. Um, you know what, John? I mean, you and I are going to have to do a podcast on some of these because we've got like very different opinions on certain films and stuff like that, and that'd be fascinating. I mean, I'd love to do something like that on like the Death Wish films and stuff like Deliverance as well. You know, films that we're much more aligned on, and also talk about stuff like Mother of Tears and that kind of thing. It'd be interesting, I think. Mm. Apologies, I really shouldn't eat on stream, but Mother of Tears is not a great film in my opinion, but John likes it, so yeah, give it a go. I think it's cheap enough now. We don't like trespassers here. It kind of makes me rather sad, that does, Grob. I can't say I was ever like a massive fan of On the Buses or anything, but she seemed like quite a nice person. Wow. It's more camp than a Boy Scouts weekend. This particular guy, isn't it? It's... I am that curious as to whether um, Black Glasses is a shot on digital, if it's a film kind of thing. Because one of the things with Dario Argento is his downfall, or at least kind of his spiral, always seemed to be when he kind of went to digital. And I'm not anti-digital, but a lot of the classic directors really kind of struggled, I think, when they suddenly got faced with digital technology. You're a strange fellow, John, sometimes. Is this guy going to be selling him a pumpkin, or going to throw him over the back of that pickup truck and give him a damn good singing too? He's giving a real lascivious kind of performance, isn't he? It's cool, John, because I always enjoy talking to you about those kind of things. So it's definitely a very strange film. This. It's one of those things, isn't it? I think with the British, the old British comedy, um, there's always a very seedy kind of aspect to them. I don't mean in a kind of like, oh, you can't like that sort of stuff these days, and the whole kind of PC thing. It's just, I think even by the time the standards of the time, it was always kind of seedy. You know, Steptoes and Sons and all that kind of stuff. Even Only Fools and Horses. There's just this sort of kind of grimy aspect to a lot of what's going on. You like Love Thy Neighbour. Yeah, you know, it's a lot of interesting kind of classic British comedy. Usually a lot of class involved with the comedy as well. You even think like Red Dwarf and stuff like that. There's a lot of kind of class warfare, you know, and kind of um, you got like Rimmer who thinks he's classier than he is. He comes from a classy family, but him himself is not able to live up to that. And then you got him kind of try to lord it over Lister. God, this guy is like kind of amazing, isn't he? It's like, wow. He's not just turning it up to 11. Mm, all right. Monty Python's kind of in a category of its own when it comes to comedy, though, isn't it? Oh, wow. They must have been very self-aware that this film is kind of pretty low rent, because they've thrown a joke in where it's they know that the spider looks fake, and they know that the audience is going to be looking at the rest of this film going, "Is that just another crappy effect or what?" Now, Ripping Yarns was quite good, Rob. Michael Palin, if I remember right. I am wondering when Black Glasses is actually going to get released on Blu-ray. It does look like a full-on Italian production as well. Hmm. There's not a lot of information on this, is there? Okay. Some of it is just weird, but you know, that's the whole kind of Monty Python run-off, I think, isn't it? They were a little all over the place, weren't they, Richard? The comic strip. It's not quite Halloween, is it? You know, trick or treat, I should say. That's a great film, though. Trick or treat. Have I got any Mandy's? You sent me down with a copy of The Young Ones or Bottom. I'm happy. Yeah, yeah, they are really kind of good. I think I've lost track of what the hell is going on in this movie. Yes. I wasn't expecting to see guitar wanking on this, but there you go. Peter Cook was always amazing. That is some of the worst fake guitar playing I have seen ever. Oh my god. Is this pre-Vamp? I think Vamp was earlier, wasn't it? Guitar wanking needs to be a new phrase now. It's not. No, I've not exactly invented it, but yeah, Vamp was 86. This is 88. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be the solo, but that was just guitar wanking. It might just be guitar wank. I don't know. Kind of missed the trick here, didn't they? Could have just had a kind of comical sort of streams of tears. She doesn't need the hose. I don't know. We can Google that, can't we? Spinal Tap was 1984. See, it looks like Spinal Tap was well ahead. The Ruttles. There's a lot of that kind of fake band stuff going on at the time, wasn't there? Oh, it's 1983. Yeah, so. I think even when Eric Idle was in bad stuff, he was kind of fun. I tell you something, this really does have a Progresso vibe about it. People were always very unfair to Andrew Ridgeley. I was never a Wham fan or anything like that, but I was very heartwarmed by the whole kind of George Michael. He gave Ridgeley the rights to, I think it was Careless Whisper, because Ridgeley in the band was really kind of, acted as much as anything as kind of support uh, for him. George Michael really kind of needed that emotional support and all that kind of stuff. A friend in the band, and that's pretty much what he was doing. It's not to diminish any musical kind of input that he put into it, but you know, George Michael was obviously the driving force on that. Hello, Brian. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? I've got to dig out my Monty Python CDs actually. I'll be in the pool all afternoon. He does kind of give off the vibe of douchey YouTuber rather than rock star a bit, doesn't he? Fair enough, Steve. Yeah. But I always thought it was one of the lovely stories of like kind of like, you know, pop music was George Michael always kind of wanted to take care of him, make sure he was looked after. And whatever you think of George Michael's music, and I think he was a talented guy. Wasn't a massive fan of his music, but I think he was very talented. Um, but he seemed a very human person as well, if you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah. Mentioning no Ringo stars. What the hell? He's on. Is he on duty? I would imagine it's kind of important in a band to have someone who's uh, not just, you know, capable of doing their job, but is, you know, it sounds sappy to say it, the heart of the band. You know, the person that, you know, everybody in there can kind of like turn to, and you know, is supportive. Because that kind of lifestyle is probably not the easiest in the world. You got to take a train tomorrow around 10. Okay. Yeah, I've got to be in at work at 7 tomorrow. Yay! This is where it pans down and you see he's actually just on a stool, kind of like. It's not stuffy, it smells like a man down here. Oh, God, don't ask him that. What do you like to do with yourself, half naked man who's clearly kind of like obsessed with his own body? Mm. Oh, crop. I did actually see George Michael live because I was at the Freddie Mercury tribute, and he was amazing. Jesus, you know you're in trouble when somebody shows you their cupboard of doom. Does he just drive around in that pickup with all those pumpkins in the back, and that's doesn't actually take him out, doesn't sell them or move them on or anything? That was an amazing concert. Yeah, hell of a concert. I mean, it opened up with Metallica, for fuck's sake. Oh, that must have been awesome, Richard. It was a very emotional concert, was the Freddie Mercury tribute. Obviously, a lot of hardcore Queen fans. There's some weird moments. I mean, Spinal Tap played it as well, which is bizarre. And then U2 did a kind of like streamed in, well, satellite kind of beamed in performance as well, which was a bit kind of underwhelming, but there you go. Guns N' Roses were there. Robert Plant. I did enjoy James Hetfield coming on in the second half and doing Stone Cold Crazy. That was fucking brilliant. Is it a Howard Hawks cupboard? Don't go in the cemetery. There's got to be a don't go in the cemetery, isn't there? Nope, there's no film called Don't Go in the Cemetery. We need to make one. Mum is creepy in this, isn't she? I've just been down to your father's grave. We made mad, passionate love, and then I reburied him. She's got a big old bruise on her butt there. Just went for a smoke. It was dug out to say check out the snakes. Well, I'll give this film something. They've got a fair amount of TNA in it. Don't scat your pants. Oh, that must have been fun. The one concert I do regret missing. Funny enough, I was talking to Gary about it. was the AC/DC live at Donington, which was the year before we first went. Well, did my brother go to that? I don't think he went to the first one. First one I went to was the Iron Maiden one, and yeah, the year before was AC/DC, and I wish I'd seen that because that was a magnificent bloody concert. One of my in fact, it is my favourite live album, is the AC/DC live at Donington, which you can get on Blu-ray. It's outstanding. If you like AC/DC, get hold of that Blu-ray because it's fantastic. Who would let a guy that looks like this in? Time check. We are currently on 38 minutes and 7 seconds. Yeah, for your birthday next week. Well, happy birthday for next week. Oh my god. Sexy line there. I have to say, it's getting all a bit Jess Franco up in here. He's a horny devil. Saw AC/DC in '86. Ah, very cool. Jess Franco, not a bad thing. Well, I don't think so. Oh, nice. Nice, John. Haven't been to a good concert for a very, very long time. Well, when I was studying in York, I was working kind of rock and roll venue up there, the York Barbican. So saw a few classics sort of go through. It was one of those venues where you saw people either going up on their way up or they were on their way down. So you know, it's like retirement tour, so you'd get like Status Quo and all that kind of stuff. But on the upside, you'd see stuff like Snow Patrol, as they were just making it big and things like that. Concerts are too expensive now. Yeah, they cost a fair bit. They're incredibly expensive affairs to put on, so it's not surprising. Not to me as a technician. There's nothing cheap about a big ass concert, especially when it's like just, you know, one or two acts and it's like one night or whatever. Yeah, the big kind of things like, yeah, I don't know, like Monsters of Rock, or was it Download now, are incredibly expensive to put on. I've heard plenty about this movie. It's kind of a weird one, isn't it? The way it's pitched is just like, like I say, I keep getting this sort of Grasso vibe from it. It's not quite there, but it's not a billion miles off of that. Oh, you saw 6 Sputnik. Wow. Sort of heavy metal kind of glam rock type thing. I think mine was I saw Harmar Superstar supporting Sia, and I loved it. It was awesome. I saw Top Loader because I was working the show. Had nothing to do during the show, so I sat up in the follow spot nest and watched it, and it was like very disappointing. That was one of those concerts where you go, they don't want to be here. Oh, that's awesome. Jock is jocking. Yeah, they didn't. Pretty sure it was them at the time that I remember, but they didn't seem the happiest bunch on the planet. Oh my god! I think the headband thing kind of dates the movie somewhat, doesn't it? I remember now. I saw it in that movie, Rambo. The closest I've got to seeing T Rex was we did a autobiographical thing on Mark Bolan when I was at the New Wolsey in Ipswich, and it was a great show. Fantastic music. So a lot of people will write, T Rex off as just being yet another British glam rock band, and they were really, actually, really good. Is this a horror or what? Sort of. It has its horror moments. But like I said, I mean, it's that whole kind of thing. It feels like it's made to be an American film, but it's made clearly by people who aren't American. It's just how it feels. Doesn't say what country this is supposed to be. I mean, it's an American cast, but I wasn't sure whether or not to suggest this one. Great action by Red Letter Media. It's one to cross off the list and nothing else. Don't get me wrong, Adam. I'm not saying it's anyone. We should be kind of like saying, well, that was a shit choice, but it's an odd film. I'll give it that much. And it's one of those weird ones because it sort of borders on being competent. You know, I mean, it's not shot badly. It's a bit conventional. It was very conventional in the kind of way it's shot and all that kind of stuff. But it has that weird, like I said, Claudio Fragrasso kind of ear for dialogue. You zoned out earlier. Hacker Lantern. It's crazy that Mad Foxes was on S3. Uh, it's not a surprising choice. If you've ever seen the cover, it was on the thumbnail. I've got it over there. Yeah, I'll grab it. And I've shown you this before, but one of the things you got to always remember is that a lot of the choices that were made by the DPP were really kind of as much based on things like word of mouth or even just the cover. And if you look at the cover on there, it's like that looks like it's going places. So it's not really surprising that the police kind of showed a bit of suspicion towards it. For me, that video cover and stuff like that is one of the best things about this film. It's a very entertaining film in some respects. It is one of those that you look at and you go, I can't believe they made this. And it's terrible on so many levels, but it's a kind of enjoyable terrible. I couldn't believe my luck when I actually managed to get this thing. Because it's a really quite nice copy. I can't remember how much I paid for it. Probably about 50 quid. Just like it says under there, it's like, this should not be sold or rented to any persons under the age of 18. Warning, this is an extremely violent film which could seriously disturb you. I am going to have to watch this copy again at some point to see how badly cut it is. Because that is, I think, pretty heavily cut on the British VHS. Yes, yeah, you're quite right, John. Share the blood. Guaranteed 100% hepatitis free. It's not quite evil speak, is it? You've seen Hacker Lantern, okay. I've never had much of a chance, so Adam's call on this was pretty good. They just get the feeling that this guy should have been played by Divine or something. Do I have the ability to rip that VHS to DVD? Yes, I do. I believe I've already ripped it to my computer, so... If I only watch the Andromeda Strain, while the sets were very impressive, the pacing is slow in the middle. Down to modern audience could sit through it. I had some trouble doing so. Yes, that is understandable. It is a very slow film, but it's typical Crichton in terms of it's very procedural. even if you look at something like Jurassic Park, it's not a particularly fast-paced film. But Andromeda Strain, triply so. Paragrayskull, yeah. There is a bit of a Skeletor aspect to this guy. But the Andromeda Strain is really kind of one of those things. It's a horror that you really kind of have to sort of invest yourself in, and I would call it a horror, although it's not got particularly horrific elements to it. It's a horror in the kind of true sense, in that it's something that should kind of worm its way into your head and make you feel dread. First time I saw Zombie Flesh Eaters was 100% because of the cover, yes. Zombie Flesh Eaters was a fun film. I haven't seen Trouble in Mind. Divino is an interesting person. John Waters and the whole kind of approach, very easy to dismiss on so many kind of levels if you're on a casual level. But a fascinating guy, fascinating filmmaker, interesting person. And when you sort of get into the kind of mindset of someone like John Waters and the kind of people that he employed for his films, involved in his films, there's something actually quite fascinating as a overall sort of thing, which is almost outside of the movie. Ouch, my buttocks, yes. It nicks of him. It's like, at what point did you realise you were in a cult? It's like, yeah, when they started branding me. If you didn't realise at that point, then you've really kind of got issues. Oh, I agree, John. Yeah. The thing with Michael Crichton is he's always, the threat in the movie, be it dinosaurs or be it kind of like the Andromeda Strain alien virus. It's never the threat in the film that's actually kind of what's being concentrated on. If you look at the Andromeda Strain, it's all about how the people react and the kind of mistakes that they make. John Hammond's arrogance in the face of what he's trying to do and all that kind of stuff, which is voiced by Jeff Goldblum's kind of commentary in it. That's essentially Crichton's voice is Ian Malcolm. And in Andromeda Strain, it's kind of looking at the bureaucracy and the kind of like how the army deal with these kind of things, and the fact that it was a self-inflicted thing, and the mistakes that they made, which lead to it almost escalate into self-destruction. I'm sure we can do that, Kerry. I'd say let's do Crimes of the Future, but the original, that is. God, that's a dark film when you kind of like understand it. It's very, very slow. You think this, if you think Andromeda Strain is slow, Crimes of the Future is very slow, very ponderous, to the point of being boring. But it's the ending of it is just gut wrenchingly complicated emotionally. Mm. I just looked back at Blue Iris's comment about my buttocks, and for a second I forgot the context of that. This is a really low energy scene, isn't it? Time code you. We will time code you. We are at 58 minutes and 30 seconds. Lord. I would love it if we would do The Fly. I'd have to find a copy online or something. I mean, we could do a bring your own media sort of thing, perhaps, but yeah. Cool. Okay. So I was just catching up on this. I'd noticed the link and whatever had come through from Ad Fox's eventually on Facebook. I think it must have been taking some time, so thank you for that. I think it was still the version where you got some Russian guy kind of screaming over the top of the soundtrack. The Fly 2, nah. Unmemorable, shall we say. Some serious 80s hair. I like it, Adam. Eric Stoltz is okay, but it's so sad with the poor dog. I can't remember too much of the Fly 2, bits and pieces of it, but not an awful lot. You should have had him sort of running, kind of like running away from somebody with a whopping great big comical kind of size fly swat. Or a newspaper. Newspaper, my one weakness. I love how with the body and stuff like that, they clearly couldn't, dig a hole to put this guy in because that was probably going to be too dangerous for him to actually do. So they just had to pile a little bit of dirt on him. All right, Brian, take care. Wow, this band rocks. Wow. Yeah, that's what I understood about it. Because when he said I'm remaking Crimes of the Future, I was like, literally like, what, in this day and age, like, you're gonna do it like now? Because the original is not a film you could make again. It'd be very hard pushed to anyway, and it would probably get you an awful lot of bad press, to say the least. Not because it's particularly horrific or anything in kind of like, terms of gore or anything, but just the final realization of what is actually, kind of required is a huge moral quandary that really kind of puts up some uncomfortable questions. Yeah, do it, Dan. But just be aware that it is a very slow, very ponderous movie. It is early Cronenberg, but you can tell, you know, you can see Cronenberg's work in it, if you know what I mean. This guy is so incredibly camp. He's having fun if no fucker else is. It's like a super Eva Dan DeVito, isn't he? Night night, Brian. I must go and be evil now. That was actually not a bad impersonation. Yes, I have. I've seen a couple of them up on the shelf up there somewhere. Um, I enjoyed them. She is gorgeous, that girl, Kerry. Oh, he's a good guy after all. Don't be a fool, Tommy. There's more ham than a pig farm in this. His performance is quite something. I do like to think of this guy as being Stanley Cooper Smith all growed up. breaking the rules. You really should. When you leave your satanic conference, you should take your cape off before you leave. Kind of makes things a little obvious. Oh, more snakes. Maybe there'll be a calamity. Listen, ham heavy acting. Yes. Oh my God, yes. I think it's the best thing about this film is that guy. He's like kind of like, wow. Isn't Psycho 4 the one where Norman calls the radio station? I think after the second one, it was like became very unmemorable again. I've got the Psycho films box set up there. I'm gonna have to watch them again. I mean, nothing really will ever compare to the first one. Although it's it's one of those things. It's not very modern or contemporary audience friendly, I should say, for now. It's a very slow, very kind of a film that sort of relies on you sort of working with it. It's one of the things I always resent with Hollywood is the tendency of Hollywood to kind of dumb down the audiences. You know, when you feed an audience as much drivel as you get, you know, there's always been a lot of it, but it always just feels like there's fewer and fewer substantial films. And that means, you know, you get the David Lynch's and all that kind of stuff, and you get called a snob because you like David Lynch because of the storytelling and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, somebody who's just sitting around watching blockbusters really struggles to sit down and have a story told to them. Oh, thank you very much, Daniel. The next review will be a Francophile, and I'm considering what I'm going to do for the next Cynical Celluloid. Just work's been tiring. It's made it very difficult to actually kind of even get myself in a headspace to write. Yeah, but you know, I'm getting them out one on the occasion. Just don't watch the Gus Van Sant remake. Yeah. I've seen most of the Saw films. I mean, it really did start going downhill after, you know, at 2, really. I mean, two's still a very enjoyable film in some respects, but its quality, well, you can tell that they'd cottoned on to what made the first one popular and just went, yeah, do that, do that, do that, do that, do that, do that. That makeup doesn't quite hold up in the full glare of like kind of regular room lighting, does it? Misery's a great film. It's a little controversial, I guess, but I think some of King's best work is really kind of like where he's not concentrating specifically on horror all the time. Although, I mean, The Shining's probably my favourite of King's. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is awesome. It's one of those go-to examples I give for when you're doing a film that kind of parodies horror. Um, you you really should come from a position of going, yeah, it's silly, but I love it, kind of thing, as opposed to the sort of scary movie ones where it just feels like it's sneering at those things. Oh, isn't that daft? Oh, yeah, that was stupid. Tucker and Dale versus Evil really kind of it doesn't just poke fun at it; it buys into it as well. It's not going it's silly. It's going, yeah, this is gory. It's fun. It is a bit silly as well. And kind of here's the cliches, but we're going to use them. We're going to employ them as well as actually sort of point out that it's such a silly thing. But I think Tucker and Dale versus Evil was one of those films that probably got kind of sidelined by the studios in some respects. They just sort of went, well, we've got this movie, let's just shit it out onto Blu-ray and have done with it. But I felt the same with like Club Dread, the Broken Lizard film. It's another film that very much kind of takes the piss out of the genre, but at the same time really kind of plays with it. It doesn't do the gore in a kind of like yeah, we're just throwing ketchup around. It really kind of goes for certain bits of it. It buys into what it's poking fun at. In that regard, it feels more sincere. Yeah, I think you're quite. That's actually quite a good description. Um, just saying that it's got charm. It has. It really has. Because those characters are really just nicely written. You like those guys, and the guys that are supposed to be the good guys, the teens and stuff like that, are just assholes. But that's it kind of flips it and then sort of goes, well, these guys are supposed to be would traditionally be the evil guys, but they're actually just very very kind-hearted, lovely people. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed Tucker and Dale. I don't know if John's seen Tucker and Dale. Tommy can't save you. Tonight you belong to Satan. It's true. Oh my god, that's some grade A stage fighting right there. Oh man, that is sub Amdram. Handrails in these films are never much good, are they? They always break at the slightest bit of pressure. I could see why people would enjoy it, Grob. Um, I'm not quite sure I'm entirely on board, but that's all right. Uh, I'm one of those people who can watch a film that I don't necessarily kind of go, yeah, that was amazing, and still kind of find something from the experience. Oh my god, who is he doing a? He's doing the Spock thing, isn't he? Remember. That would definitely have to be a bring your own media one there, though, Adam. But it's a great film. I really enjoy it. Yeah, we'll look into that. Yeah, it's a lot of things. Um, it's a tough thing to get, is the kind of horror parody that actually doesn't just sort of go, that film is that these things are shit and you should laugh at them because they're awful. Um, the best ones always buy into it. You know, they play with the ideas. They are the very thing that they're kind of poking fun at. Um, that's usually when you can tell that they're actually doing it right. You got your copy, excellent. What, this movie, Paul? I haven't seen Stephen Throw's review of it. I'm gonna have to Google it. I'll have a look at that in a minute. Well, that's an underwhelming ending, wasn't it? Get that for now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Apologies for no Mad Foxes. But we did get to finally see the legendary Calamity of Snakes, and another first, well, a first for me, Hack-O-Lantern. I can kind of see why some people find it hugely amusing. A little bit of a mixed bag for me, but yeah, I think if you're into your bad movies and you want to kind of take the piss out of it as you watch it, yeah, why not? Why the hell not? So, I'm going to call it an evening because I'm going to have an early morning tomorrow, unfortunately. So, yeah, we'll have to knock it on the head at this point. I don't know when the next one's going to be. I'll try and give you as much of a heads up as possible when we're going to do the next one. Like I say, got a huge amount of stuff happening with work and things like that, but we'll try and make some time, hopefully within the next 3 or 4 weeks at the latest. But until then, we'll be on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and doing all sorts of stuff. And if I find the time in between, we'll make some time and do another one. So thank you for joining. Sorry for Calamity of Snakes. Happy birthday, Richard. And we'll see you on the next live stream. So take care, folks, and good night. And try not to worry about what's going on in the world too much. We can't do fuck all about it. We still have our physical media movies knocking around to try to take our minds off impending Armageddon. Good night. Bye-bye.